Attorney Ben Crump addressed the luncheon attendees today, talking about how we must continue to fight against racism in this country. When he got done, he sat down with me right here on our set here at the Convention Center. Here's our conversation. All right, Ben, what's going on? I saw you up there quoting, see, anytime you use that fight on the ice, let me remind you
I understand
where that came from.
Yes, sir.
That came from Alpha founder Vertner Woodson Tandy.
Yes, sir.
He said, we will fight until hell freezes over, then we will fight on the ice.
And I love it.
So when you said it, I was like, you know, he quoting the Alpha man.
You're going to always bring it up.
Always.
Well, see, from Alpha to Omega.
When you quoted Carl G. Woodson, I thought you were about to say, hey, Roland, I'm quoting the Omega man. I was waiting for it.
Hey,
I was waiting for it.
That's from Alpha to Omega.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. But thank you for always.
But you can't go Omega to Alpha.
Hey, man. Everybody needed a rough draft.
Oh. But let me remind you, if it ain't no start, you can't follow.
Well, don't start and there won't be nothing.
That's why you dress like a cap in your red tie.
This is a Ben Crump tie, so.
Ben Crump verse 9 times.
Exactly.
I had a collection with them first.
I remember.
Alpha.
All right. Support black business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's talk about this here, man. You know, in your speech, you talked about what's happening in Florida. And when I dropped my book, White Fear, I kept trying to explain to everybody. I've been talking about this now since 2009. And that's what we're dealing with. What we're seeing right now is an absolute attack on black people.
Yeah, it is. And Roland, you know, when you read the language of the standards and the Black history curriculum in Florida, it says they will be required, that it is mandatory to teach middle school on up.
But they also are now allowing PragerU their stuff, and they are a right-wing crazy organization, and they're now allowing that in Florida.
And so they're making it mandatory, Roland Martin. We have to make it mandatory to go fight for our children and say, no, we will teach you true history.
Right.
If they doubling down, we got to double down. You know, I'm so conflicted when it comes to when they say boycott Florida, because no, we got to go encourage the people who are there fighting on the front lines to show that they're not by themselves, so they don't become overwhelmed. I appreciated Vice President Kamala Harris coming to Jacksonville to tell the teachers union that was opposing DeSantis that they are not alone.
Right.
So I need you, I guess this is my pitch, saying, Roland, I need you to come to Florida, come down to the Ben Crump School of Law in Miami.
So here's the deal. So the Alphas, we announced this week that we're pulling our convention out of Florida.
I understand that. Yeah.
But again, what I'm trying to get our people to understand, those are economic engines. It doesn't mean that we don't protest. It doesn't mean that we don't, in terms of what we do, but it also means that when we do come, we are thinking black. So the question is, where are we staying? Where are we eating? What are we, in terms of what dollars, if they're going into black hands, that's how we actually do that. And I think a lot of people, I use the example of King's speech on April 3rd, 1968. In that speech, everybody keep talking about the mountaintop, but that was a economic agenda. He said in the speech about us withholding our dollars from those who don't support us. And then he also talked about in that same speech how we got to move as a collective. I think part of this problem for me is that too many of us are talking and complaining about what is happening, but we're not understanding if you're not moving as a collective, you can't change it.
Exactly. You got to be strategic. This is a game of chess, not checkers. And the fact that you talked about what Dr. King said in the speech, being strategic. So often, Roland, the reason I'm up here doing interview after interview, because we have to fight in the court of public opinion.
There you go.
Because that, in many ways, is more effective than the court of law. So when you talk about black-owned media, where we get to frame our own narratives and plead our own case and not have it sanitized by mainstream media or edited out when we say anti-black legislation, they say, no, we want you to say people of color. Well, it seems like everybody, Asians, everybody can do that, but you gotta sometimes say black and be intentional about saying black and not be afraid to say black. And that's what I love about you, Roland. You always say, no, we talking about black-owned media.
Right. The B stands for black.
Yeah.
That's what it stands for. And people, and see, the thing is, I also think, again, as I was listening to you talk, and this is what I really try to get people to understand. If you're mad about Florida today, I then have to ask, did you vote for Gillum when he ran against DeSantis?
Exactly.
Because he lost by 30,000 votes.
Yep.
And so I'm always saying, folk, you can't get mad at the reaction because DeSantis is doing what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
The problem is when we are mad about what Trump did, what DeSantis has done, what Abbott has done. In this state right here, 75% of voters 30 and under did not vote in 2022.
Yeah.
30%. There are 700,000 eligible but unregistered African Americans in Texas right now. If 25% of those young voters vote, Abbott and Patrick are not governor and lieutenant governor. So my deal is, don't come to me complaining now if you didn't use the power of the ballot to put them out.
And the reality, they are the people who are going to be most affected by these policies. And I mean, the federal judiciary is going to be there for the next 25 years. They're going to be putting the same people who said my vote don't matter in prison, or they're going to be taking back their rights, getting affirmative action.
But Ben, you got brothers and some sisters who are saying, oh, those judges don't mean nothing. And I keep saying, seriously, I deal with it every day. I had people say, I had brothers and sisters saying, him putting Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court, that was performative. I was like, it's 9. She's 1. I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
I mean, it's asinine. And those brothers...
Again, for the people who are watching, explain to them judges.
Yeah.
You're dealing with law. Explain to them why those municipal judges, district judges, federal judges, state Supreme Court judges, why those judges matter.
It matters for a myriad of reasons, but the most important is Article 3 judges are on the bench for life.
Federal judges.
For life.
Lifetime appointment.
Article 3 federal judge, that is in the Constitution. The president appoints them, the Senate must confirm them, and once they get on, for life. So that means if they gonna discriminate against you today, they get to discriminate against you for the next 40 years.
Donald Trump appointed a 35-year-old white woman who was 11 years out of law school.
Yes, hadn't even taken a deposition.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg died at 87. That means if that white woman serves as long as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she will be a federal judge for 52 years.
Federal judges have so much power. If the Supreme Court has not decided a matter, whatever that federal judge concludes is the law of the land until the Supreme Court acts. That's how much power they got.
Right.
They not only can put you in prison, but they can decide whether you get to vote in your county, whether you get to have souls to the polls on Sunday. They get to decide if the black history is going to be taught in high school.
And one federal judge can issue a ruling, and the law is unconstitutional in the whole country until it gets appealed.
Exactly. The federal judge, the old saying amongst us lawyers is, a federal judge sits a step below God, because that's the only people who can overturn their decisions, Supreme Court and God.
Then I was a federal judge in Fort Worth. My man banned the popping of popcorn because he didn't like the smell coming through his courtroom.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to talk about...
No, I'm just... Now, again, I'm from here.
Uh-huh.
I'm not from Texas. I grew up as a man named Judge William Wayne Justice. The fact that I know the name of federal judge, because his name, he was on TV almost every day because he ruled the conditions of Texas prisons were unconstitutional, he oversaw the Texas prison system almost for 30 years.
Nah, that's...
This man, so every move of the Texas prison system, so I grew up hearing this man's name on the news almost every single day. That was the power of a federal judge.
Yeah. Can I give you a real life example of how powerful federal judges are? Right now, I represent Henrietta Lack's family.
Yep.
The mortar sales where they butchered the black woman and took her cells, and her cells have been used in every medical advancement for the last 70 years. If you've had a vaccine for COVID, for the pneumonia thing, you got some Henrietta Lacks in you. Her family didn't recover a penny. Pharmaceutical company made billions of dollars.
Right.
There's a young federal judge who is on the bench who refuses to dismiss the case. So Roland Martin, what does that mean?
Boom.
That black family finally will get some compensation for Henrietta Lacks making the world a better place for everybody. That's how powerful a federal judge.
Right. Last point here, and we've done this on the show before, and it really drives me crazy. A lot of these people have no clue what you actually do. What I mean by that is, they kill me when I see these comments, man, Crump ain't won no case. You can't prosecute a cop. You represent the family. And the reality is, in this system, that's the criminal justice system. That's what the DA's office is. Yeah. The reality is, the most one can do for the family representing them are civil judgments. And for a lot of people, they don't understand that y'all have been not just doing civil judgments, but you've been getting law changed as a part of it, like what happened in Louisville.
Yeah. With Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, we got the chokehold ban in Minnesota and 7 other states after George Floyd. And I think about Ahmaud Arbery, the first hate crime law to be passed in the state of Georgia. I mean, it's these things that people don't want to acknowledge. I think it's willful ignorance because they just want to be bitter. But these are the same people who won't go out and vote. They won't show up to jury duty. You know? And so I don't worry about them because, and I love you, Roland, because you always try to educate them and so forth. I don't have time for it. You know, they talked about my hero, your frat brother, Thurgood Marshall, like a dog. They talked about Dr. King like a dog. You know, they talked about all our brothers and sisters making a difference, but yet they do nothing. So what we have to understand is the people who are ready to go fight for our children's future, let's go do it. The ones who just want to be internet warriors, let them be internet warriors, because the real people got to go fight.
Well, man, let me know when I can get invited down to the law school. I'll come down there. We'll do a show.
Promise.
And I give a whole lot of hell to Ron DeSantis, because y'all know I don't hold my tongue nowhere.
All right. We need you, Roland. I mean, we need you, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Black-owned media need to be in Florida to set the record straight.
Absolutely. All right, baby. Always good to see you.
Love you, man.
Keep up the fight.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. You couldn't be an alpha, but it's all good.
Thanks for the rough.
All right, folks. Back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
For decades, the tobacco industry has deliberately targeted Black communities and kids with marketing for menthol cigarettes. It's had a devastating impact on Black health. Tobacco use claims 45,000 Black lives every year. It's the #1 cause of preventable death. In the 1950s, less than 10% of Black smokers used menthol cigarettes. Today, it's 85%. Ban menthol cigarettes. Save lives.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0. 0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.